Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Joanne, can you hear me? Okay. So it looks like you guys can hear me, and we are going to go ahead and get started. In case you can't talk, just feel free to chat. Just send a chat message in the chat room. Again, thank you guys for coming, and it's a good opportunity to get to know you and also to learn together. My name is George, George Ndede, and I'm a software engineer, so I decided to go ahead and offer my services so you guys can also learn. And I'm glad you're here. So this class is Introduction to Python Programming. And Python is one of those very old languages. It's been around since early 90s and late 80s. Okay, so Python was basically a research project done by this guy you see on the screen. He's from Finland, and so Python was a programming language created by Gudovan Erosam in 1991. Now, the name Python does not necessarily mean the snake. Python was originally named after a TV series in Europe known as Monty Python. But nowadays, you will always relate Python to a snake. Okay, the big snake you're all aware of. So some of the features of Python, one of them is being its general purpose programming language. So we can use Python for web development. We can also use it for mobile and desktop software development. We also use Python for machine learning and artificial intelligence. Okay, we also use Python for data science, and we can also use it for game development. So it's multi-purpose. So that means you can use Python for commercial, you can use it for personal stuff. Okay. So some of the advantages we have in Python is that it has a simple syntax similar to English language. It allows the developers to write programs with fewer lines of code than most programming languages. You probably might have seen some of the examples I was sharing online. Those some of them are as complete as you can see. Python is also portable. Portability means you can run Python on a mobile platform like iOS or Android. You can run Python program on Windows, on a Mac, on a Linux, or on a Raspberry Pi, which is a very small program, computer, which we normally use for research, mostly in the institutions like universities. Another advantage of Python is, as you might have realized, it's free. So you can download it, and then use it anytime you want, upgrade it. So that's the advantage. Some languages, you can't do that. You have to buy it. Okay. Some of the features of Python, again, it can be interpreted. The interpreter means we can code one line and then we run it. We can code several lines and we run it. So each time you do a code, you can easily run it without any problem. Unlike other languages, you have to compile and link them together. different modules and programs for them to be able to run. But Python runs on an interpreter, meaning that code can be executed as soon as it's written. Okay. Python can also be written using different programming paradigms. We can use Python in procedural way, like step by step, and we can also, originally Python was designed to be object-oriented. So that means Python treats everything it works with as an object. An object being any item you can think of. Let's say a car is an object. A human being is an object. And each and every object has features. So we call them attributes. And Python works very well in that area. And also Python is functional. Okay. Some of this you'll be able to learn as you go on with Python programming. Okay. Now, when we started the class, we started with what we call variables. Remember, I said variables, those are the very key parts of programming. Variables basically treat address locations in the memory as containers. So if we have to declare a variable, we have to know that the variable has to occupy a particular section. What we mean by that is, let's say, for example, we declare somebody's name. That name can be first name. That first name can be F name, and last name can be L name, and those are variable names. Now, when you say F name, we use the assignment statement. We can say F name is going to be David. L name is going to be Omondi. Now, if we assign both, we can now go ahead and print them, but the printing will be retrieving that declaration of the variable from the memory. So we use containers or boxes to store things used in a day-to-day life. Similarly, in Python, we need some holders of data and information. These containers are called variables. Now in Python, variables don't need to be declared or defined in advance, as opposed to some other languages like Java or C++. Okay. To create a variable, you just assign it a value and then start using it. And the assignment is normally done using the the equal sign. Okay. Now, as you can see here, this is a variable. Variable A, we are assigning the value Python to variable A. And this is variable B. We are assigning the word JavaScript to variable B. And this is variable C. We are assigning the number 100 to variable C. Now this on the left, A, B, C, those are variables. This on the right, like the first one is Python, second one is JavaScript, and the third one is 100. Those are values, we assign them to variables. And then in Python, if you need to see it on the screen, you just print, and then you put a parenthesis, which is a bracket, around that variable to print it. So you find that the first one, Python and JavaScript, those are treated as strings. And the number C here, the 100, that is being treated as, we treat this one as an integer. If it was like 100.1 or 100 point whatever, so long as there's a point, we're going to treat it as a float. So when you do this program here, you basically can print it out and this will be the outcome. Okay. Now, we can also do the same by just declaring all the three. So we say A equals to B equals to C, and then we assign 100. So this 100 will be assigned to A, B, and C. That kind of declaration or assignment, we call it multiple variables. It comes very handy and very convenient if you want to make your program short and readable, okay? So variable names. Variable names need to be more verbose. That means verbose in the sense that if I want to declare first name, why don't I just say first name? If I want to declare last name, I should just say last name. If I want to declare, say, for example, a middle name, I just say middle name. Verbose, that means we self-document the program, so that when you get to come back to that program, let's say a week, 2 weeks, 2 years, 3 years down the road, or somebody else looking at your code, they'll be able to see the documentation. They'll be able to follow your code. So that is self-documenting your program. So variables need to be more verbose in order to make the purpose of the variable more evident at first. So that means if you declare your variable as A equals to, let's say, JavaScript, B is equals to Python, that is okay, but again, it's not self-documenting. You probably want to say language A is Python. Language B is JavaScript. And let's say number C is 100. That way it's more verbose. Okay. Now, officially, variable names in Python can be very lengthy and can consist of uppercase and lowercase letters. So you need to know how to declare variable. So you can say A to Z or underscore A to Z. And you can also combine with digits 0 to 9. And the underscore character is almost always welcome. The first character of a variable name cannot be a digit. Okay, you cannot say number 1 underscore first name or number 2 underscore first name. That will not work. It has to be like first name underscore 1, second, or you can say last name underscore 2. So first name underscore 1 equals to, when you declare a variable of a string type, you have to enclose it in quotation. Can be double quote or single quote. It doesn't matter in Python. It will matter when you have to mix it up because you receive an error. A case whereby you cannot combine double one side and then single the other side. It has to be consistent. So it is worthwhile to give a variable name that is descriptive enough to make clear what is your intention or what is being used for. Okay. So here, you see first name, you say first name is Jane. This is very clear. If you open this code and you look at it, you know exactly what they want or what they're looking for. And then you say last name is Doe. And then the age is 26. So this code is self-documented. Now, if you just say, you write the purpose of the code here, you say, this is a better way of creating variables. It's very self-documented, very descriptive, and very verbose. Okay. The Python language has what we call reserved words. There are certain words which once you use them in, okay, there are certain words which are very specific and they are reserved in Python. You cannot use them in your variables. For example, whatever you see on the list, false, class, from, or, break, for, not, yield, those are very special keywords. You cannot use the same keywords in your code to declare like a variable, but you can only use them for the purpose which they are meant for. Now, the language or the Python language has a very small set of keywords. That means it's very easy to actually know so that you don't confuse it. It's like a very small word, a very small set of words. So you see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times 4, about 36 keywords. And that's just as good as you can go. Okay. So that's very special. So what are the different data types? Remember, we spoke of different types of data or different data types. And we talked of lists, we talked of sets, we also talked of tuples. We are going to talk about dictionaries. Now, why are we calling them data types? Every data set in Python has to be treated in a special way. The way we do that is by using a declaration. For example, lists, sets, tuples, dictionaries. Those are very special. And of course, we have Boolean. So we'll be able to talk about each of those. Okay. So these are the built-in data types. We have the string. String is the way you treat any alphanumeric, A to Z, 0 to 9. Any long string, it has to be in quotation. If it's your name, my name, city, state, or it could be your address. So long as it's a long string of alphanumeric, it has to be blocked in quote. The quote can be double quote or single quote. And then we have the numeric data types. We have the integer, the float, the complex. So the integer and the float, those are the ones we are going to be able to work with right now, okay? But if for some reason you decide to go further with this course, let's say you're in the engineering or in mathematics field, then you'll be doing a lot of complex numbers. But for now, what you really need to care about is integer and float. Now, in Python, we call list, tuple, and range, we call them the sequence types. And then the dictionary, we call it the mapping type. And then we have the set type. And then we have the Boolean. Okay. So let's see what each has. So Python operators, okay, we use to perform operations on variables and values. Now, Python provides the operators in the following groups. We have in arithmetic, we have the assignment. So in arithmetic could be 1 plus 1. Assignment could be the equal sign. Comparison could be the greater than or less than. The logical operators, we have the or, the and. We have the identity, and then we also have the membership operators. Okay. So as we go along, we're going to be able to learn those ones too. Now, the arithmetic operators. Just like you do your regular math, we use operators. So we use those with numeric values to perform common mathematical problems. So we have the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. We have the modulus and the exponential. Okay. Now, assignment operators. We have the operator whereby you can say we assign 5 to x and we assign 3 to x. So this will be equivalent of that one, okay? Sometimes you use a short way of doing it. When you come really good with Python, you might prefer using this one. But for you to learn Python, you need to know this and this one. So that way, if you encounter somebody else's program, you should be able to see and decipher that. If you do that, let's say x equals to x minus 3, you can put it in short form like, or you can put x equals to x times 3. Or you can just say x equals to x divided by 3. So on the left, we have the variable. On the right, we have the values. In the middle, we have the assignment operator. Okay. Comparison operators. We use these ones to compare. We can compare day and night. For example, you only want to compare, let's say, a numeric value with another numeric value. Or you can not equals to, let's say 5 is not equals to 3. But you can say 5 in this value is equals to another 5. Let's say 5 in this variable is equals to another 5 in another variable. So you use this double equal sign for equal operation comparison. You can say, let's say greater than. Greater than could be like, you can compare numbers. 3 is greater than 2, or 1 is less than 3. Okay. So you have to memorize this one too. So good. Remember, in order for you to become proficient, you have to always keep on doing it. So just like programming or in language learning, you have to consistently keep on doing it. Logical operators, we have the and, the or, and the not. And the and means returns true if both statements are true. Me, let's say I'm calling Agnes. I say, Agnes and Eric, can you come forward? If both Agnes and Eric come forward, then my statement or my desire has been accomplished, so it's true. But if only Agnes come and Eric do not come, and yet I said Agnes and Eric come forward, then the statement is not true. So my desire is not met. But if I say Agnes or Eric, please come forward, and either or make it forward, that means either Agnes or Eric come forward, then my desire is met. That means it's true. And you can also reverse. The reverse will be the not operator. This reverses the result. So if it's 1, you reverse it, it's going to be 0. So if it's true, it's going to be false. If not false, then we can reverse it to true. So we use the not operator. Okay. Now we have the identity. We use this to compare the objects, not if they are equal, but if they are actually the same object with the same memory location. So, for example, the is, this returns true if both variables are the same. And the is not returns true if both the variables are not the same. Okay, so this will be the identity operators. So if you want to learn more about this, of course, this is all being recorded, but when you get a chance, there's a very good website you can also visit. We call it W3 Schools. Okay, W3 Schools will also help you a lot to understand. Okay, to understand Python programming further. Okay, membership operators. We use this to test if a sequence is presented in an object. For example, in the in operator, this returns true if a sequence with the specified value is present. For example, we say 1, 2, 3. We keep them in a list, right? And then we go and say, is 1 in the list? So we use in. If 1 is in the list, then it returns true. Otherwise, it will return false. So you can say, if 1 is not in the list, then we return false. We can also do that with tuples and also with sets. We use this to check whether or not the value or the declared object is actually in the list. Okay. Python collections. There are 4 collection data types in Python programming language. Remember, we have the list, which is a collection which is ordered and changeable. You can always changeable in the sense that it's mutable. You can edit it. Edit it dynamically when the code is running. So this allows duplicates. So we can keep a list of names. So we have a very common name in here today known as David. We can put a list of names, and then list 0 will be David. List number, let's say 2, will be Eric. And then we have another Eric Opondo. We have another David Omondi. And then we have, let's say, another one is Dorcas. So we have Gideon and all that. So list will list names, but in the list, we use a bracket, the square bracket, to put them all together. Okay. We also learned in the WhatsApp information I was sharing with you, we learned about tuples. Tuples are a collection which is ordered just like list, and you cannot change it though. So it's almost the opposite of list. But tuples, it has to be in a parenthesis, like the regular bracket, not the square bracket. And it also allows duplicates. So you can use either tuple or list. But remember, list, if used, you can also always change it. If you use tuple, you cannot change it. Set is a collection which is unordered. That means they are not sorted in any manner. Okay. And they are not also indexed. But remember, list and tuple, those are indexed. The index starts from 0, 1, 2. The 0 will always be the first item. Okay, and the farthest item on the far right will start at -1. So 0, 1, 2 from left, but -1 coming from the right. So set, it says a collection of unordered. It's not ordered, it's unordered and unindexed. Indexed in the sense that this one is not like 0, 1, 2, no. And you can also not have duplicate members. Dictionary is a collection which is ordered, okay, and can also be changed. So dictionary and list here, more or less the same, but you cannot have duplicates members in the dictionary, okay? So when we learn about the dictionary after today, you'll be able to see how powerful dictionary is, just like how powerful list is. Okay. Grocery. For example, we can list items in the grocery. Let's say you went to do shopping, bought apple, rice, maybe put another number in there, put Sukuma Wiki there, you put rice, and, you know, you can duplicate those. And then tuple, you also do the same, but remember this is a square bracket and this is mutable. That means it can be edited. In tuple, this is going to be regular bracket, the round bracket, the parenthesis can also have the same, can be duplicated. But this apple, rice, this starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This also do the same. But when you come to sets, that's different now. Now you declare sets using the curly bracket. But sets here, like we said, set is a collection which is unordered and also unindexed, and there should be no duplicate. So if you put a duplicate in a set, it will not work. But this one allows duplicates, the list and the gross sum, the list and the tuple. Dictionary, we also declare it the same way we would declare sets. Okay? We have the food, the apple, the cereal, the rice, the price, and all that. Remember, dictionary using the key pair value. But dictionary also don't allow duplicates. So how do we go about that? So if we had a dictionary, see like this one, this is a key. The key here tells us that it's a fruit, right? The fruit is apple. The cereal. This is the key. Key to what? Key to rice. And then the price. Price to what? It's 100. And then the vegetable or the veggie, sorry. Or the veggie is kale, right? So we have the key value, key value, key value, key value. So it's a key value pair. If you were to declare, let's say, another item, let's say you want to say fruit again, then you cannot use another fruit. You can name this something different so that you can put, let's say, oranges. Let's say fruit 1, oranges. Fruit 2, let's say guava. Fruit 3, papaya, or like that. Okay. So we can print them the way they appear. So it's a grocery list. So when you do the printout here, you'll be able to come out with the type of data type. So you can just do print type, whatever that variable is, and then we come with the solution. Okay. So far I've been talking. So any question before I proceed? Feel free to unmute and just ask. It's okay. Any question from anybody? Okay. Let's see here. So let me ask you a question. You can answer if you know it. What's the difference between a list and a tuple?
My name is Mark.
Hey, Mark. Hi.
Yes, hi. I think you can't change the tuple, but the list you can be able to do changes on it.
That's correct. So we can change the list. It's mutable, but we cannot change the tuple. Tuple is immutable. What's the other difference between those two?
I'm Joan Ohanga.
Hey, Joan, hi.
Find that on the list, the type of bracket that is used,
Yes.
is square bracket. Then on the tuple, the kind of bracket is used is different.
That's correct. So you see, as you can see here, in the list, we have the square bracket, okay? And in the tuple, we have regular parentheses. That's very good. Okay. Now, another question. What's the difference between a dictionary and a list from here, from what you can see? Anybody can answer? Okay, if you look here, let me answer. Somebody? Go ahead.
Amaya.
Hey, Maya.
I think the list is a sequence type.
Okay.
And the dictionary is a mapping type.
Okay. When you say, can you explain further? When you say sequence, what do you mean? Like this come after that. So we have the 0 here, the indexing. We have 1, we have 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now also remember in the list, we have the square bracket. Okay. In the dictionary, we have the curly brackets. In the list here, we have indexing, right? But in the dictionary here, as you can see, we have the key value pairs. The key value pairs. Okay. That's a big difference. Now, when we tackle this one, which we will do today on WhatsApp, I'll share the notes. You'll be able to understand how powerful dictionaries are, just like you saw how powerful tuple, list, and sets are. So why, somebody will be asking, why do we even need more than one? So in programming, there's that there will always be that urge to look at things differently. Say, for example, you want to keep your address. Let's say you want to keep your address in memory when you're working on a program. Which one would you prefer, a list or a dictionary? Which one would be much better for you to use?
That's Martin, dictionary.
Dictionary. Okay, that's very good. Matter, why a dictionary?
Because I'm able to like assign, I can say address. Then
okay. Yes. So you can have the value address. I mean, you can have, let's say, the word address as a key, and then you put your address here. Let's say your address here is going to be, let's say, 102. And let's say the city here is going to be Nairobi, for example. And then we can say, let's say, the country here, we can say Kenya. And then we say the continent here, we say Africa. Now, this will be a better way of working with the address. And it does not mean you cannot do the same with list, but it's much more straightforward using the glossary. The dictionary. But let me ask you, why would you not want to use the tuple? Let me answer that. Tuples are also good, but remember, tuples are immutable. Address, sometimes you want to be able to change them, right? And when I say mutability or immutability, that means, is it something you can edit on the fly when the code is running? When the code is running, you cannot manipulate tuples. Tuples, once you type it in, it's good to go. But dictionary and list, you can always change them. So if we moved, say, Mato moved from Nairobi, okay? Remember the city here was in Nairobi, right? So now, suddenly now, he's done with what he was doing in Nairobi, and he has to move to Kitale. So if you declare that in a tuple, you will not be able to change it. So you have to go to the code and actually edit it manually. And that in programming, that's not going to be good. So you want to make sure that it can be done like dynamically from your code when it's running. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and If you have any question, feel free to ask, but we're almost done here. That was a question session. Now, just to introduce you to what is coming. Okay, so we're gonna do dictionary on WhatsApp, and then I'll share with you. Feel free to ask questions. We are all learning together. So when I post something and you don't understand it, feel free, please, to ask. Okay. So our next class, of course, will be under what we call the binary logic. The binary logic will be as for Monday. So binary logic is, if you've heard of the word binary, refers to the bi means two, right? And then when you use a binary notation, we are always going the way of 1 or 0. So computers don't understand the language. The computer do not understand the language. What the computer does, computer will only understand whether it's a 1 or a 0. So in computing, 1 means it's true and 0 means it's false. So when you take 1 plus 1 and you add them together in computing, it's actually 0. 1 plus 1 is 0. And even to make it worse, we even remain with 1, which we carry forward. So I'll be teaching that. I'll try to break it down. And the reason why I had to let you know so that you can be prepared for that in the coming class. So this, I'll share with you this particular, the one we just talked about, that slide and this slide. And also I will also share with you the recording. That way you can be able to access it anytime you read. So whatever you see here is the same thing we just covered. So this will come to you as a PDF. Download it, read it as much as you can. Now, we talked about everything you see here we did that in these notes here, which is covering more than what we just did on the other slide. So the Python programming. Now, if I was to ask you, why do you think it's very important for you to come and learn Python? Of course, we use Python for all this web development, regular software development, mathematics and science, engineering. We also use it for system scripting. Okay, you hear a lot of hackers nowadays. Some of the languages they use for hacking, Python is very good in that. Okay, you can use it for network development, for creating scripts, for even helping us to detect and eliminate threats in an environment like that. Okay, so Python, like again, I say, you can use it on the server for creating web applications. You can use it alongside other software to create a very big enterprise program. We actually use Python along with Java. We use Python along with C and C++. So Python can also be used to handle big data, in data science, and perform very complex mathematics and statistical analysis. If you stay in my class for long enough after this, you'll be able to see some of the things we'll be able to do together. Before you join, I was teaching the other group how to do visualization, how you can, let's say you can convert a PDF into an audio. Let's say you have a PDF letter you received, but you don't have time to read it. You can run it through your Python program so that you have it as an audio. So you put your headset, then you can listen. We also touch on so many things, and so many things are going to be talked about as time goes by. So when you need to do something quickly, we normally go to Python. So we do it for prototyping or for production-ready development. Something which would otherwise take a longer time if I was to use, let's say, Java. Python will do it so quickly for me. Okay. Okay, so we say, why Python? Why do you think Python? Now we say it's very portable, simple syntax, English language like. Python has syntax which allows you, the developer, to write programs with fewer lines of code than most programming languages. Python runs on any interpreted system, meaning that the code can be executed as soon as it is written. The Python can also be in a procedural way or object-oriented way. Okay. These are some of the features. Ready is very readable, easy to read. If it depends on who programs it. If you do a good program there, you'll be able to understand it, right? Okay, you'll be able to understand it. Easy to learn, free, it's free of charge, it's open source. It has very good way of handling errors. It's a large library of like machine learning and artificial intelligence stuff. Memory management is superb. Okay. Now, the most recent major version of Python is Python 3, which we are using in this class. We get at least 3.7 and above. However, Python 2 was used for a long time, although not being updated with anything other than security updates. It is still quite popular among the die-hard Python veteran developers. So there's a big difference between the two. So Python can be written in a text editor like Notepad. Some people use PyCharm, or you can use Visual Code, or you can just use like Notepad as in Windows, but I like Notepad++. Some people do it from the command line. So it's possible to write Python in an interpreted development environment, which is IDE, such as VS Code. There's so many of them, PyCharm, Thorny, NetBeans, and all those. Okay, it doesn't matter. What works for you is okay. Okay. Now, when you compare the syntax to other programming languages, Python was designed to be ready and has some very similarities to the English language. As you've already seen, it's like very straightforward. Okay. If you know any other language, let's say you're in college, you've worked with let's say C, or you've worked with any other language other than Python, you can tell, excuse me, Python is very easy to understand, very easy to learn, and quite friendly. So Python uses new lines to complete a command as opposed to other programming languages where we use like a curly bracket. So indentation in Python is key. Okay. So we use space to space out and indent. Other languages, they use curly brackets and semicolons for that. Python relies on indentation for syntax highlighting and using white space to define scope, such as the scope of loops. We're going to talk about loops and functions and as you go along with classes. So don't worry about those for now, but this just to highlight some of the things to come. Python is very simple programming language. I want to tell you that if you are really serious with it, by the time we're done, you'll be able to put a good code or a good program together. Okay, and that's normally the best way to learn. When you learn a new language, try to go beyond what you do in class. think of a project and put it together. In most of the time, I'll be more than glad to help. If you reach out and say, hey, I'm trying to put this kind of code together and I would like to see what your thoughts are. This is what I did. Okay. You can use Python to connect to, let's say, the databases. You can use Python for web development as in, let's say, Django or Flask or Tornado. Some of those frameworks out there available ready for you. So it's very simple programming language. So even if you're new to programming, you can learn Python without facing any issues, seriously. So is it worth to learn Python? Yes. Research and reports reveal that Python is one of the most preferred languages in the 21st century. The reason behind its popularity is its simplicity. Huge community following. Like right now in this class, we have about 1,500 people. So out of 1,500, let's say 500 people out of nowhere from 0 to 100, now they have it. Those will be 500 more people learning Python and knowing it. So that's going to be a huge community. And easy inbuilt functions like the libraries, the packages, and the modules that help in easy learning curve. So, for example, if you're doing math or you want to manipulate the operating system, Python has a library for you. You don't have to design it from zero or from scratch. So that makes it very popular. Though the question depends upon who is asking that. For a beginner learning Python, making sense because it's easy to learn. A lot of tech giant companies will switch to Python as a primary programming language because it's easy to implement and the ability for huge library packages have proved to be a money saver. So it takes a short time to develop and finish because the libraries already exist. So why do you want to learn Python? Why Python? High package salary. If you know Python, you really will command very good money. If you're in Nairobi, you probably get a lot of companies coming in now, Microsoft, Google. This is a good time to know languages so you can work remote. Or you can just go to the office and a valuable employee, they will always pay you good. It's easy to learn and execute complex solutions. You know, leading language in data science, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. Okay. Versatility and career advancement. You guys are lucky we have this class free, so utilize it, make use of it. So we can do application and job roles, portability and extendability, supports a wide range of applications. Okay. And then, of course, now these are the variables. So far we've talked about the variable and the variable types. This one will come, but not now. This will come much later in the class. Okay. Again, keep on going, but I'll share with you all these notes, so you don't have to worry. We are just about to finish. We have about 6 minutes. Any question for me? Or any comment? What do you guys think? Okay. I take silence for everything seemed to be okay, right? All right, guys. Thank you all for coming. And with that, I have to say that I appreciate your time and thank you very much for being part of the class. If you, okay. Is that Abby? Abby, you say, how can you download the class document? What do you mean class document? The document we just use here in class? Okay. Now I'll share a link. You'll find it in a link I'll share with you. And also this meeting right now is being recorded. Okay, we are recording it. And I'll share that also with you. And this particular slide here will also be available for you. I'll share that where you can download it. If you follow all this, you'll be good to go. Okay. Any other question? No problem. You're welcome, maybe. So far, what do you guys think about the way we conduct in the class? It's too much tech, right? Like comes to you like water from a hose, fire hose. It's very fast. I know it's fast, but we have to do it because it's only this weekend and next weekend. But this is just to help you jumpstart. This is not to make you an expert, but you can become an expert at your own time by being part of this learning. Okay. Maya, what do you mean by you having a problem downloading the program? What program? Okay. If you mean downloading Python program, then that's something you can do. If you reach me, I'll be able to walk you through that. And yes, we will be doing NumPy and Pandas when we start doing the data science part of it and the visualization. Okay. So this, the NumPy and the Pandas, that will be when you start knowing, like realizing how powerful Python is. So we can like call a CSV file or actually call and download, let's say an Excel spreadsheet, then we manipulate. For example, let me give you an example. Elections were done in Kenya, IEBC did their part, right? Then, of course, they have the data sets. The data sets will be like how many people are in a particular location, polling station. So we can grab those from a website, they're in Excel spreadsheet. If the data is correct, which I don't think they are, but if they are correct, we can manipulate that and then we create what we call analysis. We can create charts. We can know how many people voted at a polling station. And we know, we do the analysis, so many analysis based on what is needed. So in data science, normally the biggest part is the cleaning of the data. Most data are not clean, they're not accurate. So you have to go in and do the filling in and do the cleanup. The cleanup takes 70% of the job. So in this case, the IEBC, you get a lot of, let's say some data will not be like very accurate. Some of them will be, it's your job to clean it and to make it right so that your system can work with it and be able to get the right answer. Okay, so that's where we'll do the NumPy, we'll do the Pandas, and do a lot of visualization. So if you stay around, I'll show you guys how to use Streamlit. Streamlit is a library or a framework for visualizing data sets. And we also will use Dash. Dash is also a combination of Python, which is a Flask framework, with React, CSS, and JavaScript to create very good looking dashboards. Okay. Any other question? All right. It's 11 o'clock here, my time, and looks like we are all good. And thank you all again for coming. I'll share the notes and also share the recording. Okay. Thank you for coming, and you all have a good day. Thank you. Bye. You're welcome, Alan.